The first station, Jesus is condemned. Every day in our world, people are condemned. We hear about it on the evening news. Every time someone is rejected for being black or Asian, Hispanic or Jewish, every time an old person has to huddle on a street corner to keep warm or search in a garbage can for food, every time a handicapped person is made to feel unwelcome, someone is being condemned. You see it at school, too. There are kids who are constantly the butt of jokes. They look funny or talk funny, and they don't know how to dress. They just don't fit in. Jesus was one of those who didn't fit in. He did and said things that upset people with power. The religious leaders wanted him out of the way, and Pilate, the judge, went along with them. Jesus was condemned to die on the cross. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have condemned you and others through our silence and indifference. Help us to love and welcome all others as you did. Teach us how to follow you. Every time someone is rejected for being black or Asian, Hispanic or Jewish, that person is being condemned. Give us the courage, Jesus, to not condemn others.
Second station, Jesus carries the cross. All around us, people are carrying heavy burdens. Some of these burdens we know about, like the ones our parents or friends carry. Some burdens we don't know about, like the ones carried by teachers or other kids in our classes. Too often, we can't be bothered with what goes on in other people's lives. We allow ourselves to be deaf and blind to their pain. We think it's easier that way. We think we have enough to do just taking care of ourselves. Jesus was forced to carry the burden of the cross. Surely there were those in the crowd who knew him. They saw the soldiers drop the cross on his shoulders, but they were worried about themselves. They didn't protest the rough treatment he received. They didn't come forward. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have walked away from the burdens of others. Help us not to be deaf and blind to their pain. Teach us how to follow you. Help us to be sensitive to the burdens others carry. Jesus, give us the courage not to walk away from them.
The third station. Jesus falls the first time.
The worst thing that can happen to us is to fall flat on our faces in front of others. When we do or say something stupid, when we're not accepted for who we are, when we're laughed at for not looking right or dressing right. To be shut out is the worst way to fall flat. At school games or dances, we know there are kids who are on the outside looking in, but we don't invite them in. What would our friends think? Jesus fell flat in front of the soldiers, in front of people who had believed in him, in front of his own mother. He was in the situation because he had spoken out and taken risks for others. Look where it got him. What must he have been thinking as he lost control and fell under the cross? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have shut others out and refused to help. Help us to be aware of their needs and to respond to them. Teach us how to follow you.
To be shut out is the worst way to fall flat. Give us the courage, Jesus, to reach out to those who are on the outside looking in.
Fourth station, Jesus meets his mother. Parents expect so much of us. They want us to succeed. They want to believe that we can get good grades, that everyone will like us, that we will never cheat or lie or steal, that we will always choose what is right. And we want our parents to think the best of us. We don't want them to know about some of the things we do. Mary wanted Jesus to succeed. She wanted people to accept him, to believe him, to love him. But here she meets him, and he is carrying a criminal's cross. Did she think that he was guilty, that he was a failure? Or did she love and support him? We know the answer. She was with him to the end. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have resented our parents. Help us to be grateful for their love and support. Teach us how to follow you. Parents expect a lot of us because they love us. Give us the courage, Jesus, to love and respect our parents, even when we disagree with them.
Fifth station. Simon helps Jesus. Sometimes a teacher makes us sit next to an outsider or makes us help someone we wouldn't be caught dead with. We don't stop to think about the other person's feelings. We only care about how we feel. How does this look to our friends? What if they think we chose this situation? Poor Simon. Why was he, a foreigner, chosen to help this criminal carry his cross? Would people think he was a criminal too? Simon was probably embarrassed and humiliated to be forced into this situation. Was there even a moment when he forgot his own discomfort and looked with compassion at Jesus? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have hurt others by not caring how they feel. Show us how to act with love and compassion. Teach us how to follow you. Give us the courage, Jesus, to offer friendship and respect to those who are different, even when our friends reject them.
Sixth station. Veronica wipes Jesus' face. There are people who sometimes actually buck the crowd. When everyone else is drinking, or doing drugs, or telling crude jokes, or tearing someone down, this person speaks up. Hey, this isn't right. This isn't good. I refuse to go along. And everyone laughs. Veronica bucked the crowd. Her sympathy overcame her fear, and she came forward to wipe the blood and sweat from Jesus' face. She didn't stop to think about the consequences or to measure her own needs. At that moment, she thought only about the needs of Jesus. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have laughed at people who buck the crowd. Help us learn to accept the truth about ourselves and the things we do. Teach us how to follow you. It's very difficult to always do the right thing, Jesus. Give us the courage, please, to say no to behaviors that we know are wrong.
The seventh station. Jesus falls again. Failure is a terrible thing. None of us wants to be a failure, especially in the eyes of our friends. Parents and teachers might think of us as failures, but when friends do, it's too much. All day we are concerned about what our friends will think, and we work hard to look good in their eyes, but sometimes they fail us. They don't stand by us when we need them, in spite of all our efforts to please them. When Jesus fell again, what were his concerns? Was he worried about how his friends were taking this? And where were his friends? Why didn't even one of them step forward on his behalf? Was he angry or hurt? What was he thinking as he plunged to the ground for the second time? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have failed to be there for our friends when they needed us, and help us to forgive them when they fail us. May we be as caring of others as you always are for us. Teach us how to follow you. Forgive us, Jesus, for the times we have failed to be there for our friends. Give us the courage to put our own interests aside when friends need us.
The women weep for Jesus. Sometimes a crowd mentality takes over at school, on the bus, or at dances or parties. Things we would never do on our own seem okay when everyone else is doing them. We tend to cheer louder and crazier, dance harder and wilder, and even gang up more on losers when we're in a crowd. The women in the crowd who wept for Jesus were crying because the situation called for tears. The crowd was stirred up and noisy. Frightening things were going on. The women were just too curious to leave, but too afraid to keep quiet, and so they cried. As Jesus passed by, he heard them. He told them to stop the phony crying, and to weep instead for the evil being done. He was asking them to follow their own hearts, not the crowd. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have gone along with the crowd without accepting responsibility for what we do. Help us to get in touch with what we really think and feel. Teach us how to follow you. Sometimes we do things as a crowd we would never do on our own. Give us the courage, Jesus, to reject what is wrong, even when everyone else is doing it.
Ninth station. Jesus falls the third time. To be made fun of once is bad enough. To have it happen again and again is agony. Yet there are people in our school, on our bus, in our neighborhood who are made fun of all the time. And we do it to them too. They don't fit in, they don't belong, so it's okay. Everybody does it. Everyone knows how different they are. They fall down in front of us over and over, and we just knock them down again. Jesus fell 3 times with the cross on his shoulders. All those people watching, what were they thinking? He had helped so many of them, but now not one of them had the courage to come forward. Were they frightened of the soldiers and the angry crowd? Or was it simply that Jesus was no longer one of them, and so they let him fall? Jesus, forgive us for the times we make fun of others. Give us the courage to lift them up when they fall, even if they don't fit in. Teach us how to follow you. Every time we make fun or reject someone who is different, we are causing them to fall down. Give us the courage, Jesus, to lift others up when they fall.
The 10th station. Jesus stripped of his clothes. Clothes are a big part of our lives. The right clothes cost a lot, sometimes more than we or our parents can afford, but we insist on having them. We want to look right. We have to be dressed like everyone else. There are people we know who don't dress right, and we know what happens to them. Without the right clothes, they're nothing. Jesus was stripped of his clothing in front of a whole crowd of people. He stood there without the comfort and security of his clothes. He was stripped of his dignity like a criminal. Without his clothes, how must he have felt? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have cared more for good clothes than for good people. Help us never to value designer labels more than the needs of others. Teach us how to follow you. There are times when having the right clothes means more to us than the needs of others. Give us the courage, Jesus, to be content with what we have.
The 11th station, Jesus nailed to the cross. At times we do things that are ugly and wrong. We say hateful things about others, black people, white people, poor people, Hispanic people, Asian people. We call them names because they're different and because we've decided that we are better. We join others who laugh at them. Deep in our hearts we know this is wrong, but we go along with it anyway. Jesus was the victim of anger and jealousy. He had stirred up the people. He had said and done different things. We have accepted all people equally as they were. Now he was paying the price. There must have been those in the crowd who knew he was innocent, but they went along with the way things were. They stood by and let Jesus be nailed to the cross. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have nailed others to the cross because they were different. Show us how to love and value people as you did. Teach us how to follow you. Every time we treat people as if they have no value, we are nailing them to the cross of rejection. Give us the courage, Jesus, to embrace those who are different from us.
The 12th station. Jesus dies on the cross. We all think about dying from time to time. It's a thought that comes to us when things go wrong, when a boyfriend or girlfriend rejects us, or when our grades are slipping, or when we're drinking too much or addicted to smoking and can't seem to stop, or when our parents are disappointed in everything we do. We are tempted to believe that death is easier than facing our problems, Is this what Jesus was feeling as he died? Was he hoping to get it over with, or was he worried about his friends, his mother, his followers? Was he angry at God and at life? What did he mean when he said, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing"? Was he really so unselfish that he could pray for those who hurt him? Jesus, forgive us for the times we quit too easily because we were only thinking of ourselves. Share us the kind of unselfish courage you had. Teach us how to follow you. When we are addicted to something and feel that we can't quit, we are tempted to give up. Give us the courage, Jesus, to say no to those things that steal life from us.
Thirteenth station. Jesus is taken down from the cross. Sometimes we clearly recognize a lost cause, a sports team that never wins, a band that can't make good music, a friendship completely broken. We don't want to be part of a lost cause, but often we are. We're on that losing team, or in that band, or part of that broken relationship. What then? Joseph of Arimathea, a secret follower of Jesus who was afraid of the leaders, finally came forward after Jesus had died. He claimed the body of this criminal. What made him do it? Wasn't he still afraid of being identified with a lost cause? No doubt he was ashamed for waiting so long, but at least he did something good and courageous in the end. Jesus, forgive us for the times we walk away from painful situations and from the people in them. Give us the courage to act on our beliefs, no matter how afraid we feel. Teach us how to follow you. Give us the courage, Jesus, to hang in there when we are a part of a lost cause. Help us to be faithful to our commitments, even when things are going wrong.
Fourteenth station. Jesus is placed in the tomb. When we worked hard at something, we expect to be rewarded. A good grade, praise from our parents, cheers from the fans. We certainly don't want to be blamed or punished for doing our best. It happens sometimes, though, to people we know, and we walk away from them. We don't want to hang out with losers. Jesus spent his life preaching, healing, and helping others. He promised good things to those who followed him, but here he was, dead from crucifixion, and apparently good things had not happened to him or those who believed in him. At this moment of sorrow and failure, his followers had abandoned him, and he was buried in another man's grave. Jesus, forgive us for the times that we have measured our success by the applause and praise of others. Help us learn to look beneath the surface of things with the eyes of faith. Teach us how to follow you. Often we measure success by the applause and praise of others. Give us courage, Jesus, to measure our success and that of others by your standards of love and respect.